Unless you've been living under a rock for the past week, you probably heard that Adobe is buying Figma. Everybody's hating it, panicking, stressing out. And during times like this, I like to look the other way. What if this design tool marriage is good? Well, you're just about to find out how this could be the best thing that could happen to both Figma and Adobe. So what are we hearing? We know that Adobe is enormous. The first player in the game, they've been doing this for a very long time and has a range of products. Figma has exploded for the past few years. Amazing community and product traction, companies growing well, unicorn type SaaS company that has grown to be valuated at $20 billion in less than 10 years. They are also backed by some of the heaviest VCs in the game like Andreessen Horowitz and Sequoia. So what are some of the things that we keep hearing from people in the design community though?
Figma will stop its free plan and change their pricing model.
Adobe XD will copy things from Figma and Figma will go to Adobe will Figma. They have done that with all of the other acquisitions throughout history.
Well, I'm sorry to say that. All of that are just your own negative thoughts, which is fine because 5 out of 6 thoughts are generally negative, so you're biased to go down that thinking pattern. It's not your fault. You're genetically designed that way. So let's re-engineer and force ourselves to look into the positive realm. Before we dive into the huge potential that lies ahead, let's just address a couple of things. The deal is not closed yet and is yet to be, I think they said sometimes next year. Adobe can't just spit out $20 billion to Figma straight out of their own pockets. These things take a lot of time and nothing will affect you as a designer using this tool for at least the coming 2 to 3 years. Figma is a unicorn and can't really be compared to any of historic examples of Adobe's previous acquisitions. We're talking about a SaaS company in the product UX and UI design space that has grown from 0 to $20 billion valuation in less than 10 years. And they are profitable. Both Adobe and Figma have clearly stated that Figma will run autonomously. The team still stands, but a marriage means that they'll be exploring options to help combine the knowledge of both worlds. And when a company pays that much money, which they might have to take a loan for, they won't kill the things that have been working well, like Figma's pricing model, community, Figma's culture. That's called committing suicide. This marriage could work out to be perfect. And this is why. First things first, one of the 22 immutable laws of marketing is the laws of leadership, which is the very first law. And it states that it's better to be first than it is to be better. If we strictly look at this from a business, branding, and marketing perspective, we can see that Adobe created a category for them as a SaaS company to be first in. As of today, they are the only company offering a full suite of apps for the digital creative professional, ranging from design to video. Even though I'm not a fan of all of these apps, it's simply just the truth. From the lens of marketing strategy, you're remembered when you're the first in a category. The chance of beating the competition when a new market has opened up is pretty difficult unless you build a company like Apple. Being first in this category, Adobe has decades of extremely valuable information that hasn't been used to its full potential just yet. And as you probably heard before, if you can't beat them, buy them. So from a business and marketing standpoint, this makes total sense. How do we justify Figma deciding to sell though? They have the opportunity to tap into and leverage all the collective knowledge within Adobe that they have gathered through the past few decades, pretty much throughout all of the Web 2.0 era. This is extremely valuable, especially in this time. Why? Let me break it down further. If you scope out and look at the timeline of where we are in terms of the digital space, we can see that we spent the 90s and the early 2000s in Web 1.0. Websites was a new thing and it was read only. The intent was to share information, and a fraction of a percentage of users browsing the web had the technical skills back then to publish content. not much of an interaction, and it was consumed pretty much like a digital newspaper. In the coming decade, we slowly transitioned into Web 2.0. We went from reading information to reading and writing. We started to use websites and applications, hence the rise of usability, user experience, and interaction design. We were able to contribute, interact, network, socialize, and publish information. The experience became more personal and social, and we see this in the range of products we have and use today, from Facebook to Google to YouTube and Figma. Now, it gets really interesting. For the past few years, we've been in a transition from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. If you aren't familiar with that term, then here's a simple breakdown. In Web 3.0, we are going from reading and writing data to reading, writing, and executing. I'm sure you've heard of terms like cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFTs, augmented reality, virtual reality, metaverses, and decentralized apps. Well, these are the technologies that we'll be using and seeing in Web 3.0. Money, or digital money, will become a native feature of the internet. We will see users gain much more ownership and control of their digital identities and data that we created during the entire Web 2.0 era, and we can officially consider your digital identity be a thing of value. So how does that affect you, and what does that have to do with Figma and Adobe? So if you think about it, Adobe covers the entire digital creative landscape: design, photo, video, animation, documents, everything. Not only do they have a foot in each of these verticals, but they also have spent a lot of time developing machine learning algorithms and artificial intelligence that utilizes this information from these spaces. This information will be critical in the world of UX, UI, and product design. Why? Because it's only a matter of time until we transition from designing and using Web 2 applications to Web 3 applications. Interaction design in VR, AR, metaverses, video technology, photography, 3D, all of that are going to be key components of the future of web. As soon as a company like Apple launches their AR or VR headset, we'll see this technology spread like wildfire, and the use cases of these types of applications will increase in demand and will most probably be intertwined with the future of mobile apps. Just like in the early days of smartphones and apps, there were only a select few that used them until Apple released iPhone. And then using and designing mobile apps was normalized. Therefore, animations, video, photo, and 3D will be some of the key things that Figma has to consider for the future of product, UX, and UI design. It has to be built into their tools in order for us to be able to design these experiences. Adobe being strong in that space, plus Figma being the most popular design tool for us designers, well, that's the price tag of $20 billion US. So what are your thoughts on this? Leave a comment below and let the community know. I would love to discuss and have us think about this acquisition from different angles. And before you leave, if you enjoyed this video and feel like it's bringing you some value and a fresh perspective on design, then make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button and the bell thingy at the bottom so that the YouTube algorithm can do its thing and send more of our videos down your feed. Until next time, peace.